Hello and welcome to Tools to Create a Better Life with myself, Glenyce Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for you. So, tools to receive from social media with ease. Yes, with ease. So, in the most recent foundation that I just finished facilitating, we spoke for almost an hour about social media and points of views and clearing them and all the things. It was phenomenal. And it made me wonder if there's a few more people out there that have some clearing around social media and maybe they would like some tools. So here we are. And hashtag get your butt to foundation. I have another one coming up September 27th to October 1st. So that's 5 days. It's online, so it's only 4 hours a day for 5 days. And there'll be a link somewhere. If you can't find it, message me, email me, send me smoke signals, and I will get you the link and information. So, all right. The first thing to be aware of with social media is that we are infinitely aware. Every one of us is infinitely aware. And so many people prefer to be all by themselves in the woods where there's less insanity to be aware of. Now, I don't mean you can't still be aware of it in the woods by yourself, because you can. It's just often we find there to be a little bit more ease in that space. And I don't mean everybody, just many of us. Now, the thing with that is we don't want to be a victim to that. We don't want to say, okay, I have to live in the woods by myself with no one else around, and that's the only way I can be me. That's really what we don't. Well, maybe you do. Hey, you know what? If it works for you, awesome. I know for myself, I really used to limit myself. Like I would not go into a mall for more than 20 minutes. And it wasn't that I wouldn't, it's that I had told myself I couldn't. So every time I went into a mall and I was like, okay, this is the day I'm gonna do like an hour of shopping or 2 hours of shopping, and yeah, 20 minutes and I was out, like absolutely out. Because what I was doing is I was playing the victim. I was pretending that I was less than the energies around me. And I wasn't acknowledging all of the awarenesses and all of the insanities. I was taking them on and in as though they were mine. So the way that I started to change this, and this is tool number one, and not that these are in any sort of order, guys, but when you're going on social media, and let me say this too, you don't have to go on social media. It doesn't have to be your thing. If it's never been your thing and you're not interested, don't do it. It's just for those who would like to do it, or maybe they have a business and they know their business is asking to be on social media, then this is what you want to use the tools for. So when you go on whatever social media or all of them, whatever it is, Facebook is like still my number one, although it's becoming less and less. Instagram is quite fun for me, and TikTok is, I enjoy watching the short videos on TikTok. And those are about, I would say, the only three that I play with. There's probably many more, but those are kind of the three. So whenever you're going on to them, take a moment before you go on and energetically expand out. And this is what I started doing when I went to the mall. I know it sounds crazy, but what happens is we contract ourselves to a very, 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 very dense area in usually our head. So like one little square inch in our head is where we've condensed ourselves, contracted ourselves, compacted ourselves. And then what occurs is that when we go on social media and we become aware of all the points of views and all the insanities and all the stuff, it feels like we're physically being punched because of that denseness. So if you expand out, there's no more denseness. And not just expand out here where my hands are if you're watching me on video, but expand out into all of you, which, a little spoiler alert, my friends, is not just your body. Each one of us is an infinite being. And as an infinite being, we are everywhere. We are oneness. So let's expand out together right now. Just take a moment, close your eyes if you're not driving, and if you are, of course, don't. Become really aware of your body. Might you want to say, hi, sweet body? And then energetically from your body, expand out into the room. Go to the walls, the floor, the ceiling. Yeah. And then energetically expand out into the entire building. So you're being the oneness of you. You're aware of if there's other people. You're aware of plants and walls and furniture, all of it. Yeah. Now energetically expanding out into the entire country that you're in. So all the way north, all the way south, all the way west, all the way east. Now energetically expanding out into the entire earth. Yeah, and for most of us, it's like, there's a sense of relief because that's getting closer to what our natural state is. Yeah, being the oneness of you with everything and everyone on and in planet Earth, and then energetically expanding out into the entire universe, into all of you as the infinite being you truly be, noticing that everywhere you expand energetically, there you be. There you be. Yeah. And from this expansion, open your eyes. So what I used to do is I would actually expand out in my meditations and stuff, but then I would contract back before I opened my eyes. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make sure you stay expanded all the time. So it gets really quick. So I'm not sure how long that took, 30 or 40 seconds, maybe, I'm not sure. And that you can get so where you're so quick. So you could even ask your body, hey body, can you remind me to expand out every time we go on social media? Because then all of those energies become feather touches of awareness rather than that punching heavy energy that is like, I don't want to be on here. I don't want to be on here. So that is tool number 1, expand out. And the other thing I'm going to note about this tool, please don't only use it for social media. Honestly, the more you expand out throughout your entire day, all day long, the more ease and joy and glory and magic and money and cash and wealth and all the yumminess that you will actualize. Because that's your natural state, that expanded state. That's where the possibilities there are. That's where the awarenesses are. That's where the magic is. So if you're contracted and in this like little tiny compressed space in your brain, that's not going to be as easy for you to be aware of all the infinite awesomeness that's out there for you to be. So whatever you need to do to create that as a habit. I talk a lot about creating habits using the reminder app on my phone. You can use sticky notes. You can use an elastic on your wrist. I mean, whatever it is that you require, just something so that you remember to do this. Because this tool alone, if you never did anything else, and please do, but if you never did, this could literally change your life. I know it did for me because I suddenly was able to, and I don't mean the moment I started, it changed everything. I mean, the use of it over and over and over. I can now spend lots of times in the mall. I used to actually facilitate like 5-day classes there when pre-COVID. I can travel on the tube in London, England, which is something I couldn't do before because of my interesting points of views, and it was just so energetically difficult. Yeah, so how much magic would it be if you were willing to be the infinite being you truly be? Yeah. All right, so that is tool number 1. Tool number 2 is to be aware of, is this mine? This is a tool that we talk about in the bars class. If you haven't been to bars, guys, get to bars. Get your bars run. This is a modality, a hands-on modality where you touch 32 different points on the head and it clears a whole bunch of points of views, and it's such a gift. It's such a gift. I mean, I have been using these tools for 10 years, guys. Some of you have been hearing me talk about them for those 10 years, and some of you might be brand new. And I talk about them not only because I also offer the classes, it's because they changed my life. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be doing it 10 years later. So anyway, is this mine? So you know how you're scrolling on social media and you see a post and you feel really jealous. Oh, how dare they? They got a new car. Oh my God. Why can't I get a new car? Is this mine? It's a brilliant question because 99.9% of the time it is not yours, my sweet friend. It's not yours. You are aware of either the other people looking at that doing it, or sometimes people post stuff. Shocking, I know, but sometimes people post stuff with the energy of that crazy. They might post it going, boy, I sure hope I make so-and-so jealous. I sure hope this person sees it and they can see how good I am and how bad they are. And I mean, all that insanity. So you're aware. You are infinitely aware. If I actually only said that through this whole half an hour, I probably still wouldn't be enough, but you are infinitely aware, my sweet friends. So please ask, is this mine? If you're going down what I call the rabbit hole of jealousy or frustration or anger or pissed off or all that insanity, hey, is this mine? Wow, if it lightens up, return to sender with consciousness attached. And what that does is it energetically goes back to the very first person who ever delivered that energy. So let's say you saw somebody with a new car photo and you went down the rabbit hole of they're so lucky and I'm so not and all of that. And you said, is this mine? And you got it wasn't. And then you return to sender with consciousness. It doesn't actually go back to, let's say, the person who posted it that had that energy. It goes back, it goes to them too, but it goes back to the very first person. So we're talking lifetimes ago, and gifts them the energy to change it if they would like to. That's why we say return to sender with consciousness attached. So we're not just throwing it back at them to make them suffer. We're delivering it as a gift. And here's the thing, none of our business if they receive it or not. So just return it to sender with consciousness attached, right, wrong, good, bad, all 9 pot, pock, shorts, boys and beyonds. So I always like to follow that up with the clearing statement in case I've utilized, taken it on or made it real, or now I'm using it as a reason to judge me or whatever insanity might be there. That's what I use it for. The clearing statement, if you're not familiar, it's Access Consciousness. You can go to theclearingstatement.com for more information. So with that, really starting to be aware, is this mine? Another way you could ask that is, who does this belong to? That's another way to ask the question. Sometimes it works a little bit better if the question is this mine, or if it's who does this belong to? And sometimes it just takes it asking a few different ways to get your awareness for it. Now, let's say you got that it was. So let's say, is this mine? And you get that it's heavy, so that would mean it's yours. So it's like, oh, it's still not yours. It's still not yours, my sweet friend. Please, what you want to say then is, everywhere I've bought and sold, this is mine. I destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pot, pock, shorts, boys and beyonds, because you've just really bought it as yours. It's not. You are an infinite being. An infinite being has infinite joy, infinite space, infinite possibilities, infinite generosity of spirit, infinite orgasmic energy, infinite awesomeness. That's what that's what an orgasmic being has. Yes, well, that's what an infinite orgasmic being has. That there's nothing else. So anytime that we get a yes to some sort of insanity, just destroy and create. Everywhere you bought and sold, it's yours. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pot, shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. Now, you might also have that come up, have an energy like that come up, and it might not really, like you ask, who does it belong to? Doesn't really match. Is this mine? Something's still weird. The other question you could ask is, who am I being here? So let's say you're going into that jealousy energy and it's, the other 2 questions didn't quite change it. Who am I being here? And then you may or may not have somebody come to mind. So if one of your family members you grew up with played with a lot of jealousy, they might come to mind. It's like, oh, wow, that's what so-and-so would always act like when somebody got a new car or something like that. It's not always like linear like that. But you can, just by asking that question, you'll get a sense of like, oh, wow. Yeah, okay, cool. So same thing, return to sender with consciousness attached. Yeah, just return it to sender with consciousness attached. And it'll just start giving you that freedom to know who you actually be on social media. Yeah. And I used the term generosity of spirit before, and I believe I did a radio show about the generosity of spirit sometime last year. We'll link it somewhere here. And that's where you're so excited for people when they succeed. I mean, there's so much more to it, but that is one of the energies of generosity of spirit. And that's honestly us, guys. That is us. We are truly thrilled for people when they succeed. So that's why I know if you're looking at a post like that, it's not, and having those other energies come up, it's not yours. Now, have you ever had the situation where you have somebody in your life where they create something and you are so thrilled for them and you're so excited for them, and then you have someone else who also creates something magical, and then you have this wonky energy come up? Yeah, that's where these tools come in. Who am I being here? Is this mine? Who does this belong to? Because you have that energy is available for you. So it's just getting curious with it, getting present with it, and not going down the rabbit hole of how wrong you are for being jealous. Because that's a huge distraction. In fact, jealousy is one of the distractor implants we talk about in Foundation. And it was huge for me. I mean, it pretty much ran my life. I can remember as a child, and I've got a radio show called The Green-Eyed Monster, all about jealousy. So we'll link to that also. It's from many, many years ago, still very relevant, and it's a distraction. So jealousy is a distraction. But I can remember as a little kid, my sisters, so I have 2 older sisters and 2 younger sisters, and depending on what was going on, the 2 older I was always jealous of because they could do the things that I couldn't. And then as I got a little bit older and the younger ones got a little bit older, then I was always jealous that they could do what I couldn't do. Like, it was just this nonstop jealousy ridiculousness that I'm so grateful for these tools, because now I know if jealousy comes up, it's not mine. And I can destroy it and create it. We've got some other tools that we use with distractor implants, but start with these ones, and then hashtag get your butt to Foundation, as I've said before, and I will say again, because it can change your freaking life. Truly, I am a walking, talking billboard of it, my sweet friends. So that, I believe, I was number 2. I don't have a list anywhere, so I'm just kind of pulling them out of what I would use and what I do use. The other one kind of another tool that I want to talk about, and this isn't so much about when you're like on social media scrolling. This is where maybe you want to post something. So you want to maybe even update your profile photo, or you want to, celebrate success, or you want to post a picture of a pretty flower or something like that. And I know that so many people stop themselves. So many people stop themselves. They're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to brag. That's a big one. That was a big one for me also. And a few years ago, I went to an advanced body process class with Gary Douglas in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And he kept talking about bragging, and it was making me so mad. And I know when I get mad like that, there's information in there. There's a gift for me. So luckily, I was willing to go up to the microphone and asked him about it. And it was the funniest experience, because I just said, Gary, like, if I, did that, I'd be bragging. Like, you can't brag. And he just looked at me and he's like, who the fuck cares? And I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, I'd made it so significant and so big in my world, and such a stop point. Like, I can't, it's horrible, it's wrong. And just him being the energy of no point of view with it was like, oh, all right, done. And oh my gosh, the gift it has been to be willing to brag in my life. I've probably got a radio show about that too, guys. And if you don't know this, you can go to my webpage under radio show, and you can actually search them. So if you're wondering, for the brag show, you can go search brag. Now we'll put the link there underneath here if you're listening somehow that has links. I know sometimes people don't, then it'll be there. But if you ever are looking for a specific show, go and search it. It's so easy, my sweet friends. So it just changes everything when you're willing to be your number 1 cheerleader. Yeah. Now with that, of course, We have to be willing to receive the judgment, because there's many people on social media that aren't interested in bragging or celebrating or sharing anything. They basically just go on to whatever. I'm not even sure what they go on for, but they just go on to look and to watch. But if they're not willing to put themselves out there, if they're not willing to post, or if they're not willing to post what we're posting, then they will direct judgment. That's what we do. When we wouldn't do something somebody else is choosing, we judge them. When somebody else wouldn't do what we're choosing, they will judge us. And what if that's okay? What if their judging us has nothing to do with us? And here's the thing. Here's the secret that so few people are really willing to acknowledge. And just get if it's true for you. Might not be true for you. I know it's very true for me. Is that the more judgment you're willing to receive with no point of view, like, I mean, you're not saying, oh, yes, you're right. And you're not saying, oh, no, you're wrong. You're just like, oh, cool. Your income will go up by $5,000 that year. Yeah. Now, here's the other thing. If you're not willing to receive judgment, whether you fight it or you agree with it, your income will go down by $10,000 that year. So, what would it be like if you had no point of view of the people who were judging you and what they were saying about you, what they were thinking about you? What if, like Gary, you could give a flying fuck? No fucks given. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, fat, fuck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. The thing that I used to do with judgment, and I would say I probably do it 95% less, like where I am now with it compared to where I was is huge, is I do not take it personal. I recognize it has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. That's it. It doesn't. Look at the last time you judged somebody. Did what you were judging them for have anything to do with them? No. It's you weren't willing to do or choose or be or create or actualize what they were. That's it. That's simple. So if I post about, I just completed a 5-day fast. If I post about that and somebody says, oh my God, that's horrible, you're starving yourself or something like that, all that tells me is that person wouldn't choose it. Okay, why would I get upset about that? They wouldn't choose it. Awesome. How's it get any better than that? I don't need people to choose it. I don't need people to tell me I'm right, and I'm okay if they tell me I'm wrong. I'm willing to receive so much more, and that's what this is all about. It's about being willing to receive. So the one tool I'm going to talk about with this, and I've got some others that I'm going to add with this about posting on social media, is the barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. All levels, layers, lifetimes, universes, realities, barriers down. Because what happens is when we're not willing to receive, we put up all these walls and barriers. The biggest barrier that we have is thinking. The biggest barrier we have is thinking. When we're thinking, we have barriers up. So, how much less thinking could you be? Could you choose? I mean, truly, what else is possible with that? So, when you're going to post on social media and you've got maybe some of this insanity coming up, what will people say? They're going to judge me. This person won't like it. All of that. Okay. First step, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. All levels, layers, lifetimes, universes, realities, barriers down. And then you can go to the questions from tool number 2. Is this mine? Like the concerning myself with what somebody else might have about this. Is this mine? Who does this belong to? Whatever the other question was, I don't remember now, but you can go back to those. The other piece that is, I would say, a big piece is ask the question, truth, would posting this right now create the future I desire or decay the future I desire? And if you get a yes, then clear any other points of views that come up, destroy and uncreate the crazy, and choose to post it. And then every time you think about it, every time it comes to mind, every time it comes up in your social media, or you maybe get a notification, somebody commented or liked it, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, all levels, layers, lifetimes, universes, realities, barriers down. And it can change everything, guys, because if you're willing to receive everything, then if somebody likes your post or doesn't like it, if they comment on it or they don't comment on it, if they comment that they love it or they comment that they hate it, none of it is relevant to you. It all becomes an interesting point of view. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, but rock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And truly, how much more money can you actualize by being willing to receive more, which for many of us is by being social on social media? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, bad, rock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And depending on when you're listening or watching this, September is money month. September 2021 is money month. So from the 1st to the 13th, I have a How to Become workbook. It's a Zoom a day for 13 days. And then starting on the 14th is 9 days of Zooms for the advanced How to Become Money workbook. So we'll have a link somewhere, but come and play because yeah, you want to talk about receiving more, those two books will invite you to it more than anything else. So, okay, so now we've got 3 tools about posting. 1, expand out. 2, is this mine? Check in. Is the insanity while you're scrolling even yours? Whose universe are you in, my sweet friends? And then 3, about posting, make sure you drop those barriers. Make sure that you're in utilizing the, like, who does this insanity belong to? And, you know, what is the value? Actually, you know what, let's use this as tool number 4. What is the value? What is the value? And it doesn't matter if you're scrolling and you know, choosing insanity, or if you're choosing insanity because you're posting something. What is the value of choosing this insanity? What am I choosing this for? And if you're really honest with yourself, you'll get a sense. It's like, oh, well, I get to judge me, or oh, I get to play with drama trauma, or oh, I get to be like everybody else. I get to fit in, whatever it is. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9, pot, pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. In the foundation class, one of the gals was asking if one of my friends is posting things that I don't really enjoy seeing, or it doesn't really light me up, if I block them or hide them or unfriend them, is that not receiving? So I asked her, so truth, is that not receiving? And she's like, no, but what is that? I said, well, you can still receive from everything and actually choose what works for you. When you go to a buffet, you don't have to eat everything that's there. You can still receive from it. You don't need to judge it. You can go, wow, that chicken looks, well, you don't even have to say anything. You could just see, that's chicken. Body, would you like that chicken right now? No? Okay. And you move on to something that body says yes to. And it's the same thing with that sort of stuff. The thing is, what we do is we take it to judgment. We go, oh, that person's negative, or they're posting bad things, or they're being judgmental, or whatever it is. We go to judgment, and then we use that judgment as a way to separate from them. And that's what you want to change. You can go, hey, does it create, you know, truth, would continuing being friends with this person create the future I desire, or decay it? If you get it'll create, then cool, continue. And maybe it's a great way to use one of the tools, like interesting point of view, I have this point of view, so you can get to and choose the infinite allowance you truly be. And if you get a no, then cool, that's great information too. So none of it is right and none of it's wrong. It's just really about being the infinite being the infinite expansion, being you, not everybody else, but being you, being willing to receive infinitely. Yeah. And really being aware of what's going to create greater for you. It may be social media in that second. It may not be. It may be something else. And then the other thing with social media is, I would say this is wherever we're at, tool number 5, I think, is truth, am I distracting myself with this? So when you go onto social media, check in. Are you going on to have, you know, an experience that will create greater for you? Or are you distracting you? Because there's a lot of energy, and I know in my own world too, where I really use social media to distract me. If I'm not wanting to choose something, if I'm not doing something that I think I should, if I'm judging myself, if I'm in sort of any insanity, often social media is where I will go to. And it's not wrong to distract yourself with social media. You just want to be honest with you. So let yourself know. If you get yes, you're going on to distract you, cool. You can choose it or not, but don't go on and be, how we might go and say, oh, I went on to check one thing and 3 hours later I was still on there. That's the unawareness, that's the anti-consciousness. Whereas if you're willing to ask the question, willing to get if it's a yes or a no, and then willing to choose whatever works for you in that 10 seconds, that will be what creates greater. So, if you enjoyed this, I would be so grateful if you shared it with your friends, and have a great week, sweet friends, and I look forward to chatting again next week.